Hi, this is Megan with Beadaholique, and today I'm going to show you how to make a macrame link bracelet. So we have two different styles in our exclusive kits. We have a style that is the crystal encrusted infinity macrame bracelet, and it has this crystal encrusted infinity link, and then we have the arrow link macrame bracelet, and that has this arrow link. So the construction on the two different styles is exactly the same, and I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate one of the arrow link, but it will be just the same if you use the infinity link. So the supplies that you get in your kit are a bobbin of knotting cord, and this is 1mm knotting cord, and you'll get one link, and you'll get a tube of E6000 glue. And the infinity links come with the same bobbin of knotting cord and the same tube of glue, and then they come with the infinity link. So like I said, we're just going to see this one here. I'm going to make another one of these to show you. And the other tools you're going to need is a pair of scissors, a ruler, and then a piece of scratch paper and something to use as an applicator for the glue. You can use a scrap of wire, you can use a toothpick. You do want something to help you spread the glue pretty precisely because you're going to be using it just in your knots and you don't want to get it everywhere. This bracelet that I made, I've made them all the same size and they are adjustable. So if you hold on, you can hold on to the sides and pull and open that up, and you're going to be able to fit that over about a 9-inch diameter. So if you measure around the knuckle part of your hand and it's 9 inches or less, this size will work fine for you. You just put it over your hand and then pull it back down. And it's going to adjust anywhere from about 6.5 to 8 inches for a bracelet size. So that's going to fit a large percentage of people. So I'm just going to show you the instructions for that. If you need to make it longer, you would just add extra square knots in. There will be some cord left, some extra from the pieces that you cut. So if you're only making it a little bit larger, you should be able to stick with the measurements that I give you. If you're going to be making it significantly larger, then you will want to cut some extra cord. So I'm going to cut all my cord first. So just find the end on your knotting cord. You're going to cut one 1-foot piece and set that aside. Now you'll cut two 2-foot pieces. And then we need two 3-foot pieces. And that's all the cord that we need for this bracelet. As you can see, you have a lot of leftover cord, so you can buy yourself new focals, new links, and make yourself more bracelets, or you can just do bracelets that are just knotting, and you have all you need right here, because you will have leftover glue as well. So the one other thing that I forgot to mention that you will need is you will need some way to affix your work to your work table or to your surface. I'm just going to tape mine onto my work table. If you have a really nice table, you definitely don't want to just tape down onto your table. You can tape to the underside of your table, or you can use a clipboard. You can also use a macrame board, which is a really handy tool if you do a lot of knotting to invest in. For the purposes of simplicity, I'm just going to tape my work down. First thing we're going to do is take the two 2-foot lengths of your cord. Fold one in half. Now we're going to take your link and take that folded end and go up from the bottom to the top. Pull the loop through until you have a couple inches. Then you're going to open that loop, reach through and grab the cord from below and pull it tight. We're going to do That's a lark's head knot, and we're going to tie the other end onto the other side exactly the same way. Fold in half, take that folded end, go up from the bottom through the loop, pull a couple inches, open that loop, and pull the end cords through. And I'm going to go ahead and do those first so that I can use the second end to secure my work. So I'm actually going to tape that part down. So go ahead and spread the cords and tape it down, and you want to use something like masking tape that isn't going to leave anything yucky on your cords. So don't use duct tape. Just use something that's going to be a little bit more gentle. Now take one of your 3-foot lengths and fold it in half. Place the center of that fold right behind the cords that are attached to the link. So that we're going to be doing macrame square knots, and macrame square knots are always made with 2 long outer cords tied onto 2 shorter inner cords, the center cords. So often they will be both attached to the piece that you're knotting from, but I like the look of having just the center cord attached to your link. It keeps it a little bit cleaner and it's a little bit more low profile. So I'm actually just going to start my macrame knots onto the center cord without attaching the center cord to my link. So what we're going to do is, the first step in the square knot is to take the left cord and bring it under the center cords. And don't yank on it, we want that center to stay right there. So be careful not to disturb that. So take the left cord under the center cords, then take the right cord underneath that cord that we just moved, over the center cords and down through the loop on the left. Now you want to keep that knot fairly centered and pull it snug. And then you can hold on to those center cords and scooch it up till it meets that lark's head knot. And pull down and on the center cords and push up on that knot and kind of really get it snugged up. The second half of our macrame square knot is going to take the left cord over the center cords, take the right cord over that, under the center cords, and through the loop, and pull snug. You want to make sure your center cords don't get twisted. And pull that nice and tight, and again, snug it right up against the link in that knot there. So each macrame square knot has 2 steps. You're just going to repeat those 2 steps. Take the left cord under the center, take the right cord under that, over the center, and through the loop, and pull tight. The second half will be taking the left cord over the center, taking the right cord over that cord we just moved, under the center and through the loop. Okay, so that's our second macrame square knot. You can see it's like little sideways V's. It's going to go down, down in a little V. That's one square knot, and that's the second square knot. And you need to make sure to alternate whether you go under or over with your left cord first. If you just keep going under or just keep going over, it will twist. So to keep it nice and flat, you want to make sure that you do that alternating. I'm going to do it one more time. Take the left cord under, over, and through. And then over, under, and through. Okay, you're going to continue until you've made 17 square knots. So one easy way to do that is each square knot has one little bump down the right hand side. You can just count when you have 17 complete square knots, you'll have 17 little bumps there. Then you're going to flip your work around, tape the other side, and do 17 knots exactly the same way in the other side. So here I have my bracelet, and I have 17 square knots on each side. I've flipped my work around and I've done both sides. And as you can see, I do have a fair amount of cord left over. I always would rather have extra because you can't add more. So the measurement of 2 and 3 foot segments is going to give you a decent amount, so you won't have to worry. And if you do want to add a few more, you will have enough. Now we're going to finish the knots. So flip your bracelet over to the back side so that the back of your focal is facing up. When you open up your glue, it has a foil seal, and you just need to use the little point in the cap to puncture the seal. Go ahead and put some glue out on your scratch paper. Now I'm going to take the 2 side strings. Leave the center strings alone. You're going to actually use them to complete your clasp, but we just want to finish the side strings. So we're just going to tie a knot with the side strings. Before you pull it tight, just use your fingers to open the knot up a little bit so that you can see between the 2 strands of the knot, and then use a toothpick or a wire to put a little glob of E6000 into the knot and pull it tight. This one, it's a little bit less important that you don't get glue everywhere. You don't want to get it all over, but if it gets underneath or on the ends, that's fine. If it gets down onto the macrame knotting below, that's fine. Flip it over, and we're going to do the same thing with the other side. So take your 2 outside strands, tie the knot. Before it's all the way tight, you just want to spread the cords a little bit and get some glue in there and pull it tight. There, I got less glue everywhere that time. That's a little bit more what we're looking for. Okay, you want to go ahead and let your glue set up. You really want to give it a good hour probably to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere before you trim that. In the meantime, you can do your clasp. So what we're going to do is take your center strands, and you want to overlap them to complete a circle with the bracelet. So you want them going past each other and having the bracelet in a complete circle with the center ends pointing away from each other. Now we're going to go back and take the 1 foot length of cord that we cut at the beginning, and we're going to put the center of that cord behind our strands. And just like we did before, we're going to tie macrame square knots around the cords using this new piece. So take the left side under. You want to make sure that you hold the center down. Take the right side under that, over the center, through the loop. Okay, and it's a little tricky to get that tight while holding the other strands in place, but it's very doable. Pull it snug. You don't want to pull this so tight that you can't move the other strands, but you do want it to be snug so that it does stay tight and doesn't just loosen. Now we're going to finish the square knot. Okay, so there's 1. We're going to tie a total of 3 square knots with our new cord. And do try to keep these center strands straight, not getting twisted and not overlapping on each other. It just has a nicer finished look to it. Okay, so there's my 3 square knots, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to finish that outside cords on my clasp just like I did the other ones. So go ahead and flip it around so that you have the back side. And I like to work with the ends at the top. Okay, now we're gonna tie a knot and we're gonna put glue on this. In this one, it is extremely important that you're really careful with your glue. Your glue can only touch the strands that you're gluing, these loose outside strands, and maybe this macrame knot piece right here. But if you touch these center cords with your glue, your bracelet will not slide to adjust. So pull your knot pretty tight without pulling it too snug. Just kind of get it down to where it's gonna sit. And then if you need to get new glue, if your glue has dried too much, you can get yourself some new glue. Mine is still fine in the middle. Just go in with a sparing amount and just get it on the cords that you're knotting and not below it, and pull that snug. And again, you're gonna wanna let that really set up before you trim it. You wanna have all your glue set for about an hour before you trim, just to be sure that you're not gonna have it unravel. So now what we're going to do is trim our ends. So get our ruler. I'm going to be measuring from the place where the knots end, the macrame knotting, and I want my ends to be about 2.5 inches. Another easy way to make this bracelet bigger, if you don't want to add more knotting, is to simply make this piece longer and it will adjust to bigger. So I'm going to just tie a regular overhand knot, making a loop and bringing the tail through the loop. And then holding my strand up to the ruler, I'm just going to tighten the knot and adjust it at the same time so that I get the knot sitting right at about 2.5 inches. Then I'm going to make a knot in the other side, the other strand on the same side rather, and I want it to sit in the same place. So I'm just going to match it to that piece. And then I'm going to flip my work over. This is another reason why you want to make sure you're not using too much glue, because if you do, you need to wait until it's totally dry before you move on. As it is, you can let your glue set up while you finish, as long as it's not getting on everything while it's wet. So tie your knot, move it and tighten it so that it's 2.5 inches down from your square knotting. Tie a second knot. And line it up with that next one. Okay, now what we're going to do is pull these knots really tight. The knotting cord is meant for knotting. They will stay, but you want to pull them really tight. And then we're just going to trim these close, maybe about just less than 1/8 of an inch, something around 1/8 of an inch from the knot. And do both sides. Okay, then you're going to let your glue dry all the way and come back to it when it's all the way dry. When you've let your glue dry, you want to go ahead and let it set for about an hour. Then we're going to go in and just trim our threads, our cords. And you want to trim close to the knot. Maybe only about 1/16 of an inch away from the knots. And you want to trim all 3. And then to ensure that your knots are going to be nice and secure, take a little bit more of your glue. And you're just going to go in very delicately and glue the space where the end of your tail comes out of the end of the knot. So just right over the very small tip that's still there and where it meets the knot. So right over the ends, and that's going to just secure that, and do both sides. And then on your sliding knot, again, you want to be very careful that you don't get your glue into the macrame knotting below, you just want to do that end knot and the sides. And you want to go ahead and let all your glue dry really thoroughly before you wear it and before you yank on your sliding knot. And again, to open and close, all you do is hold onto your sliding knot and pull it apart. Hold onto your sliding knot and pull on the ends to tighten. And that's how you make a macrame bracelet with an arrow or crystal encrusted infinity link.